Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria of Through the Peacock's Eyes. Welcome to my channel. This video is a VR to Shamanic Arawak Priestess, and the tag is top 3 of 9s. I have them written down here in front of me. So it's your top 3 of 9 different spiritual, shamanic, or witchy categories, however you want to look at it or how you define yourself. And I also saw this hashtag on Indigo Moon Woman's channel. I will link both those channels, their videos, and pin it at the top of the comments below so you can find them. So let's go through these top 3 of 9s. So the first one, the first of the 9 categories is tarot. So your top 3 tarot decks. Now this was hard, as you can see in this cabinet behind me. Those are all my tarot decks. There's some in my desk here too. And I actually had to break this down into 2 categories. So there's my top 3 decks for me personally right now at this point in my life, because it does morph and change over time. And if you've seen my other videos, like my Council of 7, and I think I did like my top 5 tarot about a year ago, these will be similar, but they're not all the same. Okay, and then I have my top 3 tarot that I use with clients. And I've noticed those tend to be very RWS or Rider-Waite-Smith based. Okay, so let's get started. So the top 3 tarot decks for me personally right now. So number 1, and this has been number 1 since I got it, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, I can't remember now, is the Mythologia Fennica Tarot, a very shamanic deck. I connect to my Scandinavian ancestral lines with this. I've done a lot of ancestral healing through this deck. I'll show you some of the cards, but I have shown this in other videos too. And the guidebook for this, because it goes through all the mythology, like it hits home, it strikes a deep chord every single time. And I think I've mostly, maybe exclusively used this deck for personal, ancestral, and family healing. Okay, so that's 1. I have a lot of stuff on my desk here. So the next tarot for me personally right now, top 3, is the Anima Mundi Tarot. And it's interesting because I don't pull this out a whole lot, but as I was going through this, I was like, well, which decks would I want to pick? And the Anima Mundi Tarot, like it's the negative space, the background space that I get pulled right into. I like journey right into all the background space. And this one was also in my Council of 7. I think it was in my top 5. I have to go back and look. But you can get an idea of the cards here. Get some of the glare off. It's a bright sunny morning. The sun just burst out. Oh, wasn't expecting that. So you get an idea of this deck. Okay. Wasn't expecting that because I keep my cards up right now, even though I learned with reversals, and for like 20 years I read always with reversals. So that surprised me. And then my third deck personally, my top 3 personal tarot deck, is my own deck, Children's Tarot. Maybe the glare is better here. I just love this deck. Of course I'm biased, it's my creation, but it just sums up. It's a major arcana only deck. It is designed specifically for children and children in mind, including children who cannot yet read. I'm in love with my own deck. Okay, so that's the Children's Tarot. So those are my personal ones. And then an honorable mention, and I say that because this is a brand new deck, and so I have like, you know, honeymoon crush on it, is the Hush Tarot. And I used this for last week's weekly. I'll be recording the weekly for the week of April 20th after this with this deck again. So you can check that out to see it in action. So this is an honorable mention. It might be in that top 3. We'll see. Okay, now my top 3 tarot decks for clients. Let's make some room. Again, as I mentioned, these tend to be RWS based. And I probably do that. It's not totally conscious. I'm thinking it's part subconscious because a lot of people are familiar with that. So when I pull the cards out, you know, most of my clients have had tarot readings before, either from me or someone else, or they have their own tarot decks, or they, you know, so I tend to go with that, but it depends on the client. Sometimes I'll pull out an unusual deck that I hardly use, depending on who it is. So those three are, and they're so common, I won't show cards. The Light Seers Tarot, the Morgan Greer Tarot, and the Hanson Roberts. This box is taped up. This is one of my older decks now. Okay, so category number 2 of top 3 of 9s is oracle decks. Okay, so I have 3-ish or 4 here. 1, 2, 3. Where's the other one? Oh, there it is. Okay. So the first one, and I've mentioned this in a few videos now, I have used this oracle deck every single day since I got it, for me personally, and sometimes I use it for clients or like the weekly reading. And it's the L'Oracle des Reflets, or Oracle of Reflections. It is in French and English. I love the Pisces back, the 2 fish. And I'll just show you some of the cards here. It's tea-stained backgrounds and drawings. Now it is that velvety rose petal finish, so it's a little hard to slide them. And I paired this with the Hush Tarot last week, and I'll do that again for this week's weekly, just to give you an idea here. Okay, so that's one. Number 2, another one of my own creations, is the Fine Lines 44 Meditation Cards for Intentional Living. Now, the creation of this, it took 10 years. It was going to start out as a book, and it started out with me journaling about these fine lines that came up in my head. So it started out as a personal journaling process. Then I thought, oh, this would be a great book to put out there for people. And then I realized over the course of the years of revisiting it and working with it myself over and over that, you know what, these would make great cards. I also have a workbook. It is, I can do this on camera right here, called Traversing the Fine Lines. I didn't pull it out, but everything's linked below in the description box. This is just a great tool, both as an oracle or what should I work on this week personally, but it really has turned out, and I didn't plan it this way, but it turned out to be a great deck for shadow work. So I'll show you some of the cards here. So retreat versus escape, responding versus reacting, I am you versus you are me, surrender versus giving up, busy versus overwhelmed, why versus why me, responsibility versus paranoia. So there's 44 fine lines there. And in the workbook, it's basically a sampling of how I work through it. I give definitions and then prompts, just ideas, questions to get you thinking, to basically kind of do the shadow work yourself. Okay. Now the third oracle deck, it's actually a pair of oracle decks. I know. So the 4-ish, 3-ish, 4-ish, and they are made by the same creator. And they're both 2-part decks. So the Yarn and the Mirror of Mama Shamana. And when I learned about these decks, immediately I was like, I need those decks. And I got them off of, I don't know if you know Wasima at Ascension Waves channel. She has an online shop and she sells them there. The creator lives in Siberia. They're called Mama Shamana. It's a very shamanic oracle pairing. And that Siberian connection, like again, that strikes some deep ancestral and past life roots for me. So I've used these 2 decks a lot. Just to give you a quick idea, since I've used them a lot, I'm not going to do flip through. There's picture cards, and then there's phrase cards that come in both decks. And I did use, I believe it was the Yarn of Mama Shamana for my diving into 2020 readings for each sign. So just go to my channel page, scroll down, you'll find those, check it out for your own sign. I might do a revisit of that. Given all that's going on with the coronavirus, I might do an update on that, videos for each sign. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so number 3 on the list my top 3 of 9. So number 3 of 9 is incense slash resin. So my top 3 incenses or resins. So number 1 is cedar incense. So I have this incense box slash incense burner holder, a very beautiful one that I keep this in. I don't have like the packaging it came in because I've had this for quite some time. But my number 1 incense is cedar. Not that you can smell it, but I love cedar incense. I love woody smells, and I'll get to that in another category. I also, in my top 3 incenses, is Nagachampa, a very popular, well-known incense. And then I wrote down myrrh, but it can be frankincense and myrrh. And I have, these are resins, which are used as incense. A little hard to see, a little bit of glare. The lighter is frankincense and the darker is the myrrh. Okay. There's sort of a fourth that overlaps with crystals, but I'll get to that. Okay, so category number 4 of 9 is herbs. My top 3 herbs that I like to use for spiritual purposes, because I am also an herbalist, since this is a top 3 of 9s for shamanic, witchy, spiritual things. Number 1, rosemary, and these are all from my garden. Rosemary. Love the smell. The dogs brush against it all the time, so they smell like rosemary. And then we have rue. It's a beautiful kind of I don't know how well it comes out on camera, especially with my green walls, but it's this beautiful like bluish dark green. And I love the smell of rue too. Like, get it on my fingers. I don't know if a lot of people like the smell, but I just love the smell of rue. And then a little less heavy herb. Those are kind of pretty heavy spiritual herbs. A lighter one is lemon balm. So that's from my big lemon balm bush. Also smells beautiful. And lemon balm is of the mint family. So I put lemon balm slash mints, but I prefer lemon balm. Okay, category 5 of 9, curios. So curios are kind of what it sounds like. If you don't know, it's just unusual objects. I had to think about this for a bit. My first thought when I was like, oh, curios, to me is just a regular mirror, not a black mirror, a regular mirror. And I actually had to think about this for a while. Why does, like, it's basically scrying into a regular mirror, right? But you're seeing the reflection of everything. And I realized it's really because when I look in the mirror, I'm scrying into my own eyes. So can I put that in a curio, my own eyes with the aid of a mirror? Because I think, it's the mirror, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, I'm scrying into my own eyes. And I guess I kind of use my eyes with the mirror as a crystal ball, because I get really great insights by looking in the mirror. I know that sounds funny, but I'm not like, oh, look at me. I'm just looking into the mirror. It's just the process. It's just like gazing into a crystal ball. But I realize it's by looking through my eyes, maybe into my soul, maybe connecting deeper to my intuition that way. And you can't tell this on camera. They just look brown on camera usually, but my eyes are actually a dark hazel and there's multiple colors in it. So I think that might be part of it. But that's something I actually am going to explore deeper, like the mechanism of why and how I use just a regular mirror for, you could say, scrying purposes, but it's usually, for insights into my life. So we'll see. So that's number 1. Something I'm gonna, this whole little video is getting me to look into deeper. And then a couple other curios. I have a few. It's going to be glare, of course, because the lamp and window are right in front. But a few, get it to focus, copper yantras. And yantras are things you focus on in meditation. That's so hard to show because it's shiny copper. And this one on the top says Sri Mrityunjaya Yantra in Sanskrit. So I use yantras sometimes. I have one, that's the one that sits on my altar right now. And then I don't know how curious of a curio this is, but I have my turquoise beads that I made myself. I didn't make the beads, but I made the bracelet myself long time ago. So prayer beads, we'll say it that way, prayer beads. Whether you're using japamala, rudraksha, or whatever, rosaries, prayer beads, but those are the ones I usually use. Okay, category 6 of the 9 is oils. So I didn't bring any out because there's just not enough room on my table right now. But oils that I use, coconuts I use for a lot of things, especially my herbal healing. I mean, healing's part of my shamanism, so I use coconut oil quite a bit. Sweet almond comes in second, and those are typically the two I use, not including culinary oils, right? But if I had to pick a third, probably castor oil, which I'm out right now. I don't use it a whole lot, but if I had to put a third oil there, castor oil. Okay. Number 7 of the 9 on the list is tools. So what other tools? I mean, all these things that I've talked about to me are tools, right? So other tools. So the first thing that popped into my head were my dreams, the dream time. I made a few videos, part of the Dreaming Moon series last fall. I think it was in November. If there's a playlist, I'll try to link that on screen here, or go through my videos on my channel. But working the dream time, using my dreams as tools. I know that's not like a physical tool. You think tools are physical things, but the first thing that I thought of were dreams. Dreams are so significant to me. Now, second on that is journeying, shamanic journeying. You could call it astral travel. In a sense, working the daytime dream time. That's something I've done since I was born. I can journey. I can journey and be present at the same time. Sometimes it takes a lot of energy, but those are two tools that I have. Yeah, dream time and journeying. I have done my entire life, and I can't imagine not using those tools, even just everyday life. It's like walking. They're just part of everything I do. And then third, I wrote journals or writing, and I have some of my journals. I pulled some dream journals out. I've shown journals before. This is my current dream journal, and these are a couple of other dream journals. So I write my dreams in, and then I might also do, as I write my dreams, I journal out what insights come. Sometimes it's like automatic writing, but any form of writing can be a tool for me. Okay, especially, and also going back and reading that. So yeah, they're not physical objects, those extra tools, because everything else here is a tool to me. Okay, now number 8 on the list is crystals. Okay, move my beads over. So my crystals, moonstone. Now this one shows beautiful like indigo blues. I don't know if it will work with the lighting. How does this work? If I can get it to catch the light for you. I don't know if it will work on camera. Maybe not. But moonstone. And then rose quartz. Doesn't look as pink on camera because of the green walls. And then my black tourmaline wand. Sometimes you see me wearing this. Those would be my top 3 crystals. Okay, and then another crystal that overlaps with the incense/resin category, so it's sort of an honorable mention in both those categories, is amber. And this is an amber pendulum that I have. And there's actually an amber bead at the end there too. I had this hanging outside a door for a long time, so the chain is very, I like how it looks actually. It's very like Victorian chain looking. So I have actually used amber quite a bit in the past, not so much recently. And I use it a lot in jewelry. So you may have heard me mention in some other videos. I don't have a whole lot of crystals. Like I love the idea of having this giant crystal collection, but I have to have a specific reason for wanting a certain crystal for certain use before I get it. Or I find one or it's gifted or something like that. I don't know why, that's just how I feel about them. But I love the idea of like having like a room full of crystals. Um, so often when I get some sort of crystal, it will be in jewelry form. And that's why I have like the black tourmaline wand. That way I can wear it like that. So I do have quite a bit of amber jewelry, and amber comes in different colors. And so I just wanted to show you, like, will that work? I can't get on center. Here we go. There's the regular kind of orangey amber, and then lighter shades of yellow, and then there's also in the middle there green amber. Okay, so those are my crystals. And then the ninth of 9 categories is colognes or scents. So I don't have anything to show you for these, but number 1 is jasmine. I love the smell of jasmine. I have jasmine essential oil. I always sniff jasmine flowers when I walk by them on the dog walks. Jasmine is just very calming and relaxing. So that's the number 1 scent I use. Again, I have it in a little essential oil bottle. And next would be the scent of rose. And right now, let's see. Well, I have the rose petals that I've gathered that I have with all my dried herbs. And then I use rose witch hazel as well right now. But I love rose water, and Shamanic Arawak Priestess mentioned rose water, and that reminded me of my grandmother who always like used rose water, and I used to too. I just don't have any right now. And then my 3rd scent, and I should mention I don't really wear colognes and perfumes except for this 3rd scent, and it's the woody scents. So like sandalwood, like my cedar incense I like. But right now, if I put a scent on me, it's this oil blend that I have of vetiver and sandalwood. But I love those woody scents. Okay, so those are my top 3 of 9s. I love this hashtag because it really got me to sort of think about all these things, especially now I need to explore my mirror eye scrying further and the mechanism that I actually use for that, because it's quite interesting. Like, yeah, I don't need I just look in a mirror and all this stuff comes to me, so I need to understand that more. So thank you, Shamanic Arawak Priestess, for starting this hashtag. Hop on this hashtag if you're interested. Check out the other videos. The tag will be at the top of this video. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. I hope everyone out there is healthy and safe, and I'll see you back here soon.